Will Moshiach use artificial intelligence? We're living in a world that is continuously progressing technologically, and there are constantly new inventions and things that are being innovated to help us live our lives better and taking them to levels that were unprecedented before. So as we know that everything in the world that happens, it ultimately leads to the coming of Mashiach. Everything that is created in the world was ultimately created to bring out the glory of Hashem, of God, as the sages teach us. Whatever Hashem created in His world was created for His honor. So obviously all the tools that were created, technological tools and other types of inventions that we have available in the last few years, decades, centuries, their ultimate purpose is to be used to bring us closer to understanding Hashem, to help us serve Hashem in a better environment, in a better peace of mind, and so on and so forth. More particularly when it comes to the idea of knowledge of information, we're living in the information age as it's called. We know that the Zohar tells us that in the year 5600, which is the 600th year of the 6th millennium, it says the floodgates of knowledge above, the superior knowledge of Hasidus and Kabbalah, of mystical teachings of Judaism will be revealed, and also the teachings of secular wisdom, of modern science, took quantum leaps around that time. And the Zohar says the reason for this is because we know that according to mysticism, the 7th millennium, which is the Hebrew year 6000, will usher in the 7th millennium, a time which will be completely dedicated to godliness, to spirituality. And just as Friday we prepare for Sabbath, on Friday we prepare the food, we prepare everything that we need to be able to enjoy Shabbos, so too on the 6th millennium, particularly towards the end of the 6th millennium, we are preparing the world for the coming of Mashiach. In the days of Mashiach, the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem as water covers the sea, and therefore a lot of these different gateways of knowledge that have been opened are ultimately paving the way for us to recognize godliness within nature, to recognize godliness through mystical wisdom, which surpasses nature, and so on and so forth. As such, it is understood that every innovation that we have today is ultimately, particularly something which is helpful for people to further their knowledge and take the knowledge in quantum leaps that we never imagined before, obviously prepares us for the days of Mashiach, for the time when, as our sages, as the verse says, the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem as waters cover the sea. Nevertheless, without marginalizing the great help and benefit that such an invention could bring, it's important to understand the limits of this invention regarding the future prophecy of knowledge of Hashem filling the world as waters covers the sea. When the verse speaks about the future flood of knowledge, knowledge doesn't just mean a bunch of data that we know and we could analyze. Knowledge means, as is explained in many texts, the word das, knowledge means understanding. When you know someone, you have a relationship with someone, particularly when it comes to godliness. Godliness is not something that you could figure out just by analyzing data. Godliness is something which a person could only really connect to through the gift of prophecy, through the gift of having through transcending human grasp and intellect, through using methods of the soul, which are able to communicate and are able to perceive and feel, and so to say, tap into the divine. So that is how we are able to connect to Hashem. The knowledge of the future is not just mere data, it's knowledge of understanding, like knowing someone as a friend. It's not just you know what they wear, what they do, what they're all about, but you have a soulful connection. You know them, you're connected to them. So as much as we are able to use various tools to further our knowledge, however, the knowledge of Hashem that the verse is talking about is something much deeper, something which is, as much as supercomputers could process, it's all data analysis. It's not being able to experience a spiritual feeling, a spiritual connection, a divine knowledge, which is something which is a revelation of divinity, which is not able to be put in code and in logical and data analysis. So while obviously we will use everything that's available to serve Hashem when Mashiach comes, But ultimately, the knowledge of Hashem that will be unique to the days of Mashiach is something which completely transcends the ability of a computer. For example, today, even just the question, if Hashem exists, if God exists, you'll put it into into AI computer, a chat is generated by AI, it will answer you whatever the whoever programmed the AI what they should answer. It's not giving you its own answer. And even if it will be able to explain to you, to bring proofs of the existence of God, that's not what the verse is talking about when it says that the knowledge of Hashem will flood the world as waters cover the sea. It's talking about a awareness, a spiritual connection, something, a revelation of godliness that becomes so clear and revealed and tangible, which is something which you don't even need, data analysis, and it's something which data analysis won't really help for either way. So using knowledge and understanding is very great, but the ultimate knowledge is something which will be uniquely introduced by Mashiach through revealing godliness in a way that we will be able to physically and tangibly tap into spiritual awareness, tap into what's really hiding beyond the surface of everything that we see, the spark of God that's bringing everything into existence, and that will become revealed in an open and tangible way. Hashem should help. We should merit the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. Amen.